Excelsior! Someday I'll find out what that means.
Alright, hope you enjoyed that little Excelsior bit. Anyways, I got news that some guy named Bill Moore, I don't give a shit, blames Stan Lee and comic books for Trump's election. Why? Are you seriously going to blame Stan Lee and comic books for Trump's election? And that's not even the case. That doesn't even matter. Why are you doing this when he died? And even then, why does that even matter? He freaking died, and now you're criticizing fans for mourning his death? Honestly, who cares? Don't bring politics here. Stop. Stop being freaking cancerous. Anyways, just wanted to get that off my chest. Alright. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about why I feel Carnage is misunderstood. Now, Carnage is a really complex character that most people mistake to be a simplistic character. People think his only motivation is to kill and kill and kill. Why do I have a problem with this? Because people overlook the fact that he doesn't just kill for no reason. I mean, he likes it to make people think that. He basically tricks the audience into seeing him in the light he wants to be seen in, which is a monstrous murderer. However, we're going to delve deeper. We're going to delve deeper into the psychology of this madman. Of this menace, as J. Jonah Jameson would put it. And yeah, let's see what we can find. So here is a clip from Maximum Carnage, in which he is struggling against Demogoblin. So, there are several reasons why these two fight. Number one being because Demogoblin mentions the P word. Now, what is the P word? The P word is plan. Demogoblin claims that there's rhyme and reason to everything, while Carnage is like, there is no such thing. He's all getting pissed and everything, and he's going as far as to strangle Demogoblin over it. And another reason he hates Demogoblin is because he's religious. Carnage created his own religion out of chaos, and chaos is like his god. However, when Demogoblin mentions, like, another god, this doesn't really sit well with him. What do I mean by this? Carnage doesn't believe that there's a good god. Why? Well, because of his past. He's endured so much pain and suffering. He had an abusive grandmother. His mother was neglectful towards him and loved the puppy way more. That's why he killed it, out of jealousy and hatred. And his father was a drinker. His father took him to his first bar when he was 5 years old. And, yeah. So, he didn't really have the best childhood ever. Not to mention whenever he went to school, he was bullied. And after, he destroyed his entire family, he was taken to St. Estie's Home for Boys. Now, what did this do? Several things. Because of his antisocial behavior, he was bullied once more by all the kids there. And not just the kids, mind you. It was the staff as well. So he despised them. And then he had a crush in his preteens to teens years, and he was debating whether he should confess his love for her or not. After so many weeks of contemplating, he finally decided to. What was his reward? Being laughed at and humiliated. So he felt betrayed. And he just pushed her in front of a bus to get the last laugh. And burned down his entire orphanage with everyone screaming inside. Does this seem like someone you would sympathize with? No, maybe not. But how about I shed some more light here? Here is another clip from Maximum Carnage in which Deathlock Danny Rand and like everyone else apparently gets this cannon from Rand Enterprises in just several minutes for some reason. I don't know, it's the 90s and it basically turns bad people into good people. It changes moralities. Basically, to do the opposite of whatever Shriek does. Yeah. And so, this genius invention right here blasts both Carnage and Shriek. Shriek gets affected and she's actually giving into it. She reaches her hand to Carnage and she's like, come, join me. They're trying to help us, save us, give us a better life. What is his response? He's like, stop them, you imbecile, don't give in. Love is something they use to hurt you. Okay, those weren't his exact words, but you can tell because the text near Carnage, you can't see it here, but the text like right next to him is like pain. It had become all he had ever known. He grew up with pain and misery his entire childhood. He was always dealing with mental, emotional, and physical pain. And now he embodies it. And the thought of any positivity sickens him. Now, what does this tell us? This tells us that Cletus himself is distraught. He likes to kill people and move on. He doesn't like to revisit his past. Why? Well, because he doesn't like his past. And because he feels vulnerable. It's why he tries to cover up all of the emotions he's feeling and turn all of that hatred built up inside into happiness with that sadistic grin when he unleashes his wrath upon everyone else. That's what I find interesting about him. So this scene is taken from Carnage It's a Wonderful Life, in which he infects Dr. Kafka and John Jameson with his mind, well, with his symbiote really, in order to give them a little taste of what it's like to be in his mind of madness. He's like, fishhook tendrils of this little skinbag's eyes say you're wrong. Leave this place. Now, who is this little black boy? So, he is Cletus's imaginary friend, and he gets really nervous and frightened when they figure out that all he wants is just a friend. He's like, I'll kill Billy. I will. And you see him all struggling. And Kafka's the cockroach nightmare over here. And she's all telling him, you sad, lying bastard. You can't face the chaos of seeking out real human interaction, like allowing John and me a choice to stay here, transformed her. Click, 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 click. So, you know. Yeah, she starts actually acting like a cockroach now. And, this is the one thing Carnage feared. He didn't want anyone to figure out that all he wanted was love and a friend. And now in the Access storyline, when he turns good, he is still very violent. Because it's become all he's ever known, like I've said before. And he honestly doesn't really know how to handle situations as a hero. That's just putting it lightly. He's like, help me, Cletus. We'll web it up. Smother the blast. No amount of webbing is gonna stop that. So, before we move on to this, though, when he tries to save people, he ends up, like, still slaughtering countless civilians because he just sucks at being a hero. Because he treats even the smallest crimes with murder. So, he wrongly accuses civilians of robbing people, and he once punched a dude's eyeball out of his skull by accident. And he's like, oh yeah, that happened. Okay. And he just web swings off, and then there was this one time where he beats up this old man. He impales him and breaks his bones. And the guy's like, I didn't do anything. He's like, oh, you're right. Well, just sit there, hope for the best, and hopefully everything goes well. And he's like, what? But I'm broken. I've got broken bones. He's like, okay, see ya. And the dude's just lying there, bleeding and broken. Cool. So anyways, why is Cletus so violent? Like I said, it's become all he's ever known. I'm sounding like a broken record. I apologize for that. But it's true. All he's ever wanted was someone to just tell him that they care about him. That's it. It is me. Cletus, this will kill you. World's better off without me. Can't argue that. See, so I don't know, this really gets to me because it actually shows that Carnage himself, all he's ever wanted was to be appreciated the entire time. Now, this scene has become infamous because of Screw Attack. They screwed him over. Anyways, I covered that topic long ago, so feel free to check out my debunk on that. Anyways, we're going to be focusing on the morality here, not his durability, because his durability is freaking ridiculous. But, yeah, once he becomes a good guy for a while, or at least tries to be a good guy, you can actually see why he turned out the way he is. So, like, I believe when the Access storyline started with him, it told his story in a different light. Like, when he pushed his crush in front of the bus, for some reason it showed him younger. But okay. I don't know. And he actually felt remorse. He felt guilty for his actions. Like, Access goes back into his past and makes him feel guilty for everything he's ever done. And it solidifies his pain. So here, Cletus makes one last request for Spider-Man. He's like, I'm gonna need you to do something for me. And Spider-Man's like, anything. And he's like, I want you to make a nice memorial for me. And he's like, I want you to blast my favorite song, Freebird, so that the entire city hears it. And he's like, okay, sure thing, I will do it. And he starts singing the lyrics to Freebird. He's like, and this bird is now free. I'm sorry, I can't remember the lyrics. Oof, it feels bad. Anyways, yeah, this really, like, concludes the Access storyline for Cassidy, and I think it ended quite well. And any Carnage fans out there could actually feel sympathy for the guy, and they're like, oh no, is he actually going to die? Of course he didn't, because he's Carnage, he's a badass, he's not going to die. But I mean, if they made this into a movie, and it was done right, like, I could genuinely see people feeling sorry for him. And I just want people to know, he isn't a one-dimensional character. He just turned out the way he did because of a series of unfortunate events. I'm not talking about the book series, mind you. But, yeah. That's really all I wanted to say. Hold up, let me see if I can really add anything onto that. I covered his pain. I think I overdid that one. But I'm serious, though. Really, he could have turned out to be a normal person if you really come to think about it. Like, if the world hadn't been so awful and jacked up to him, he could have been like your normal person. He could have been like your guy just walking down the street, getting a job and everything. Could have had a good life going for him. But because of how evil he saw the world as, because of how neglectful and abusive it was towards him, it shaped him into this monster, this unrelenting monster who just wanted to kill. And that's where I can feel sympathy for him. And I can understand why he would be that way. And in a way, he actually mirrors Peter Parker in terms of getting bullied. However, unlike Spider-Man, it didn't turn into ignorance. Like, he didn't ignore the bullying. It turned into resentment. He became angry. And he just hated the world. He hates everyone. Well, except for, Shriek. However, when she was taken away from him, he got really pissed, so if you think about it, if he ever did have friends, if he ever did have people who truly went out there and loved him, he could have turned out to be a much better guy. And that's really all he wants, but he can never get it because he doesn't know how to ask for it. He doesn't want to ask for it because he's scared. All he wants is just compassion. He wants someone to just pat him on the back and tell him that they care about him. But nobody's ever done that, hence why he's become the monster he is now. And that's what I find so amazing about him. That's what I find so fascinating. If you want to do a sympathetic and sadistic villain, this is how you do it. Don't do it like how they did Lucy. I like Lucy, but I just don't feel that they handled the empathetical side of her very well. Because unlike Cletus, she does not own up to her own mistakes. She does not own up to her crimes. Cletus knows he's irredeemable. He just doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. He knows he's irredeemable. She wants to act like she's done nothing wrong. I don't know if it's those angsty teenage years or whatever, but Carnage, he hasn't changed. And that's what I like about him. Now, if someone could tackle this side of him, it would do me a great honor. Like, I would be so happy. Now, they're probably not going to do that in Web of Venom Carnage Born. They're going to solidify how maniacal and evil he is, which I love too, but I don't know, I love every single aspect of him. And I just wanted to get this out there because a lot of people misunderstand him, and that's why a lot of people hate him. Or just don't like him. He's really not a character who's in between. You either love him or hate him. People love Venom, but they hate Carnage because of who he is. Yet they fail to understand Carnage completely. That's what I think people need to get into their heads. Yes, he is freaking evil. He is probably the physical embodiment of chaos and destruction. But everyone else around him helped shape him into that monster. Here I am, Jazz, signing out. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Leave me your thoughts in the comments below.